Okay. Shift gears just a little bit. I have a particular question that's come in from Yemen, but I want to give it just a little bit of context. Now, in the Senate, on the one hand, we do have the Glass-Steagall bill that's been introduced. On the other hand, yesterday we had 99 senators vote to back Israel on the question of a conflict with Iran. Some of the text of that bill said that if the government of Israel is compelled to take military action in legitimate self-defense against Iran's nuclear weapons program, the United States government should stand with Israel and provide, in accordance with United States law and the constitutional responsibility of Congress, to authorize the use of military force, diplomatic, military, and economic support to the government of Israel in its defense of its territory, people, and existence. So that overwhelmingly passed. Now, in response, Jamal Abdi, who is the policy director of the National Iranian American Council, in a statement, he had said, well, apparently the Senate thinks the standoff between the United States and Iran suffers from a lack of brinksmanship. Washington and Tehran are stuck in a vicious cycle of mutual escalation that can only be broken through the give and take of serious negotiations, not through further saber rattling. He went on and called on Congress to abstain from any more reckless threats or sanctions that push us closer to the brink of war with Iran. Instead, Congress should ensure diplomacy can succeed by making it absolutely clear and credible that in exchange for verifiable concessions that prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, sanctions will be lifted. So we have this ramping up of the conflict on the Iranian front. Now, a very short while ago, Israel struck Syria, which had the potential to blow up there into a large war, particularly concerning Russia. Now, as regards Russia, there was a conference. There's a conference on European security, which was titled "Military and Political Aspects of European Security," which brought together officials from Russia, Europe, the United States, and Canada. And there, the chief of the General Staff of Russia, General Valery Gerasimov, he warned that the U.S. policy is standing in the way of further reductions in nuclear arms. He said that Russia will cut its strategic attack force only when it is certain that the United States' development of global missile defense will not undermine its nuclear deterrent potential. And then he went on to say that we have devised a new system for counteracting the possible negative effect of the United States global shield that it may have on the Russian nuclear potential, and we're not going to hush it up. So in this context of the potential for a broader war to break out, Barack Obama gave us a terrorism speech yesterday at the National Defense University, and he made no bones about the fact that, you know, he's killed American citizens with drone strikes because the nation is in a state of war, and we have to use all means to defend ourselves. Now, to cut to the chase, to get to the question particularly, in the broader context of general war, we have a specific question from a representative of the government of Yemen, which has been constantly marauded by the drone strikes and have a contingent of people being held indefinitely at Guantanamo Bay. And he asks, where do you stand from the Guantanamo prison issue and the open drone strategy of Barack Obama? Many regards, sir.
Oh. Well, first of all, you can brush all that aside. It's very simple. If you start to fool around with this kind of thing, you're going to wander into a global thermonuclear war from which probably no one can survive. So these petty schemes, forget them. Forget them. And forget the fools that babble them out. As General Dempsey has emphasized, and others have emphasized, we know that if there is general warfare or anything leading into general warfare in any of these regions, there may not be any people left later. So therefore, just cut out all those issues. They're not worth considering. They're the mutual extinction of all the fools that connive at them. Our job is to prevent fools like the fools who are doddering fools we just referred to earlier. There are certain things that we must insist happen, as opposed to certain things that we must insist will not happen. And that's what this is all about. We're not talking about balancing or measuring grievances on one side or the other. The time is gone for that. War, by involving major nations, war is thermonuclear war. And thermonuclear war is one that the human species is unlikely to survive. Now, there's some people who want to play that game, but they're idiots and worse. They are criminals in any sense. Anyone who's out there to start and pull the button, push the button on thermonuclear war, is a criminal beyond belief. So these things are irrelevant. And the important thing is the Russian intervention has occurred in the negotiations on this matter, is move in, deal with the responsible people in the United States, which don't include the president, move in and stop it right now. We're going to force negotiations. And we're going to force them not among a group of nations, we're going to force them nation by nation. You will not do it. You will not start this war. You will not detonate this dynamite. You won't do it. We will refuse to let you do that. And that's the theme. We want to save the human species, and anybody else who wants to play a contrary game should be put someplace where they can do no harm.